Hey guys, today I'm going to be giving you a video tutorial on how to make your own custom AI flight paths for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This software works for both versions, so just make sure you have the correct version checked in the two check boxes. Okay, so first you need to go to this link here. I'll leave this up for the whole video so you can reference that website whenever you want. On the left side of that web page, there'll be a link that says Download AI Flight Planner. Go ahead and click that, download it and install it, extract it, whatever you have to do, and then run it. When you do, you'll get the page. It looks like this. Go ahead and, well, the first thing you'll notice is you have nothing under your aircraft list. So the first thing we want to do is go to Aircraft, Create New Aircraft List. It's going to bring up this huge window. This area will be blank if it's the first time you're running it. So you'll hit Scan Folders. Make sure you have the right version of Flight Sim selected. So click Scan Folders, it'll show the planes you have here, and now we can click Use All. It'll bring up a window like this. It says Aircraft List Updated, and it'll disappear. Next, now you can hit Start New Flight Path, Start New FP, and that's going to get you set up to start making your first flight path. So under Aircraft List, you can now see that all the planes that were scanned are in here. We'll just click the Airbus A321. In parentheses, you're going to see the estimated cruising speed. This is used for your estimated time of arrival. It's pretty important, so if it's changed or it's not right, you can always click on Aircraft, Modify Selected Aircraft, and in this window here you can put in the correct numbers. You can even click Image and see a thumbnail of the paint job you're using. That might not work if it's an add-on plane that you're using, but yeah, so now what we do is, this is fairly important. I think that this is probably the best thing you can do, is to click local times for the time zone. This means that instead of having to set a time zone, which you can do if you uncheck this and go here, you can pick any time zone you want, but it's easier with local times because you don't have to guess, well, I want it to be in California. How does that relate to Mountain Standard Time or anything like that? You just click local times and it'll use the local times of the airport that the plane is currently at. Also, right now it is summer, so you click summer. Otherwise, your flight path will be an hour off, so the plane will be an hour off of what you want it to do. If it's not summer, you just click standard. Next, you can say what you want your plane to be called. Like when you right click, go to traffic and view all the planes, it'll say like Airbus A321 and then it'll say dash, something. You can call this whatever you want, so we'll just say test just for these purposes. Now your active level percent is at what percent of graphics your computer will display this AI flight plan. So if you have it at 1%, it'll always show it, but if you have it like 50%, you need to at least have your traffic settings at 50% to see this. So we'll just leave it at 1 for this. Next is your time frame in which you want this flight path to repeat. If it's a shuttle run of a quick flight that comes back to the airport just for visual effect or something, you could have it 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours, whatever you want. If you do use these smaller increments, your time zone is going to have to not be local, it's going to have to be the actual time. If you try and click this with this selected, it'll just bring up an error message just like this saying that you can't do that. So we'll just click 24 hours. What this means is that every 24 hours this flight path will repeat, which brings me to my next point, which is your aircraft always has to come back to the starting airport. That's how Flight Simulator is programmed. It doesn't like making planes disappear. I know you've probably seen that if one gets stuck on the taxiway, but as far as this is concerned, you can't let them disappear like that. So you're going to want to have it selected to 24 hour, and the plane has to come back to the starting airport within 24 hours. I'm pretty sure if you don't do this and the times are off and you hit compile it, the software will give you a warning, but I just wanted to let you know just to be sure. Next, you want to select your flight type. We'll do IFR because this is a pretty long flight that I have in mind here. We'll do flight number. You can call it whatever you want. We'll just do 1, and we'll say from Los Angeles. You can type in, let's see, there we go. You can type in the the identifiers, that's what I do, and when you progress to the next box, it'll recognize that, and you'll be all set. Departure time, keep in mind this is in military time, so we'll go ahead and do noon. If you want it to be in 1 in the afternoon and you typed in 1, it would think it's 1 in the morning. So make sure it's you're doing everything in military time. So this would be noon. We're going to want to go to Denver, just as an example. Now when we click the next box, right here it tabulates your distance in nautical miles, the duration based on your cruising speed, which is why the cruising speed is important, and the estimated time of arrival. This is also in local time, since it's only going to take 2 hours and 4 minutes. You'd think that it would be 2 hours, but it's also compensating for summer and the change in time, so that's the estimated time of arrival. You can override the ETA if you know it's going to take more time or less time. Usually if your cruising speeds are pretty accurate, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Next, altitude, we'll say 32,000. You only type in 320 because the software automatically adds in the last 2 zeros, as in right there. So then your call sign, you hit this REG period, and that'll give it the call sign of what you typed in custom. So now you have everything you need for the first leg. So you hit save edits, and that will take everything you did. It departs at noon. It's going to Denver. That's when it's going to arrive. There's the flight number and the altitude it's going to be cruising at. If you had selected week over here, you'd be able to check these boxes, and then here it would show what days of the week it's going to fly, but we just have it repeating every 24 hours. You can have as many legs as you want. Just once again, remember that it comes back to the starting airport before that 24-hour time period is up, or 12-hour, 8-hour, or whatever time period you have selected. So now we're going to hit add leg, and just for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to have it come right back to the starting airport. So it recognizes the last place it was at. You type in your flight number, we'll just call it 2. It really doesn't matter. Departure time, especially in bigger airports where it may take the plane a long time to taxi because it's heavy in traffic or something like that, I'd say give it at least 30 minutes of wiggle room. I'll give it 40 just in case, because you also want it to have some time to sit at the gate and be realistic if you want to compensate for like loading and unloading times and stuff of passengers, whatever. So we'll do 15:44 for the departure time. That's when it'll start talking to air traffic control and getting ready to go. It's not going to leave, like take off exactly at that time. That's just when it's going to start going through its pre-flights and stuff to get ready to leave. So give that a couple minutes wiggle room, just so you're not worried if it doesn't go the very second you have it selected. And now we'll just have it go back to Los Angeles. And once again, it'll give us the same distance and everything, because we're just going right back to the same spot. We don't need to override the ETA for this one. And altitude, we'll just do 32,000, remembering that you only need to type in 320 once again, because the software adds the last 2 zeros. Now hit save edits. Now you can go in between the two, edit the information if you have to. If for any reason you try and edit something and you don't click this save edits button first, it won't remember your changes, so make sure you do that before you switch in between these two. You can have as many legs as you want, like I said, before it goes back to its 24 hours, otherwise you'll get an error. This one's good to go, so now all we have to do is hit add FP to list. Now you'll have this show up here. You can continue, you can say start new FP, it'll make a new flight path, you can do all this over again. You can add more legs to this, stuff like that. If you're making a big pack for this, we'll just have it be this one flight, just as an example. So if you're experienced with the more manual way of doing this, you'd know what this meant, these numbers, but for this, you don't have to worry about it. So now the last thing you do is just hit Files, compile traffic.bgl. You'll get this window, select where you want it to go. We'll say desktop. Make sure you have it traffic underscore first, call it what you want, save, correct flight simulator version selected, and hit compile. Now it'll bring up this window saying it's compiled, and your compiled traffic BGL should be right here. So this video can't be any longer, so I'm going to cut it here, and I'll show you where to put this file in the next video. Thank you for watching.